Hey friend, I wanted to talk to you today about stewarding the season you're in. Many times as women, one, we find ourselves trapped in this comparison, and it doesn't really matter what it is, whether we're achieving, whether we're mothering, or whether we are stewarding. All of a sudden we find ourselves comparing to other women. And one thing that I have learned as a health coach is that you cannot compare your seasons. The same way that winter cannot compare itself to autumn. Spring cannot compare itself to summer. Every season has a beauty and a purpose. And the same way in your life, every season that you're in has purpose. And with that, we do not want to overwhelm our bodies with the stress of saying my stewardship does not look like her stewardship. So let's dive into it real quick and let's see if we can't find a place where you find peace in your stewardship. So I'm going to use an illustration of plants. Please humor me. I am just getting into plants. I went my whole life really without dealing with plants at all. And now I have this desire to just grow food and all my own stuff. But with that, what I'm noticing about the plants that I have is that they come with different seasons. So there are the wintertime when it's dormant, where you would think that the plants are dead. It's doing absolutely nothing. There's no life, there's no green, there's nothing. It's brown, it's twigs. And then you do research, had to do it, on the dormancy of a plant, and you realize, oh, that's actually extremely important. That we need that. They need, for their own ability to produce fruit, they need to have a season where they're just resting. And then there's a season where they start to bud, and it's early on in the spring where all of a sudden it starts to green, and the life that all the rest that they had in the wintertime begins to turn around, and now they're experiencing that beautiful life growing in the spring. And then the summer comes, and now comes the fruit from that season of just growth, of greenery, where it looked nice, but there was no fruit. Well, now the fruit is starting to grow. And then in the autumn it comes, and all of a sudden you're harvesting all that fruit, all the benefits, but now the plant is starting to shrivel up and die again. And so in these seasons with the plants of dormancy, growth, fruit, returning back to dormancy, the plants understand their seasons. So why can't we? As women, we have constant cycles happening throughout the month, and then throughout the year, and then throughout our lifetime, as we transition from being completely different women from the time we to become a woman to the time we go to see Jesus. Our body is just dramatically different. There is grace in every season. But as a woman with young children at home, how you steward your body is different than as a woman who is postmenopausal and who has experienced everything she needs to experience. Her body cannot produce children anymore. And now she's on the other side of restoration and rest, right? So for me to look at my clients and say, hey, you young mother, take care of your body exactly the same way as that woman who is postmenopausal, well, that wouldn't be fair. But something we do want to be clear. This is biblical stewardship. It's not necessarily what you're doing, but your intention, your proactive nature, that you're not reacting to things coming to you because you've prepared for it. So many times when we have prepared our bodies during the early years of our lives, our season of dormancy, or I don't even want to compare what season of the year is actually a season of womanhood, but the early seasons of life, if we prepare our bodies accordingly, we will have a better result on the later seasons of life. So with that in mind, we do want to be mindful of how we eat. Our body does need certain nutrients throughout our lives, certain minerals throughout our lives, a certain amount of rest throughout our lives. But how we, our ability to create those things or the pockets of time that we have may look different. So I want to encourage you today, when you are looking at how can I steward my body, I want you to think less about how does that compare to Judy down the road, and really think about, okay, what is my intention towards my health today? What am I hoping to accomplish today? And as I do that, just mindfulness. When are my meals? What will be consumed during those meals? Will I be required to be out and about, transporting, picking up kids, doing an outing, gathering whatever during that time? In that way, What do I need to do to compensate? Have I rested well? Do I need a nap? Have I moved my body? What does movement look for me in this season? Does it look like me chasing my kids around and doing a little workout video with them on the TV? Does it look like me getting outside and getting moved? Does it look like me finding a way to do weight resistance, whether a jug of milk, a bottle of water, doing squats with a chair support? What does that look like for me? When we do challenges as a community and there's exercises involved, if you can't do the full amount of, say, we were doing the squat challenge a few months ago. With the squat challenge, at the end, we're doing over 200 squats. If you can't do that, that's fine. But if you showed up intentionally to say, I'm going to do 15 squats, okay, great. That's stewardship. God's not going to look at you and say, hey, you did not steward your body well because you did 15 when they did 20 or 200. He's going to look and say, okay, you're taking care of your body. You're acknowledging where you're weak. You're listening to your body for where you feel like you need more strength and support. And from there, you're building. So when we talk about stewarding in our seasons, we are saying, I acknowledge where my weak points are. I will work to strengthen those weak points at the pace that this body can handle. And I will keep showing up. I will keep showing up. Every day is a new opportunity to worship God through our health. So we want to be mindful. And obviously the topic of stewardship covers so many things. We got to steward our finances. We got to steward our time. We got to steward our resources. And we need to steward our physical health, which means we are not allowing life to just happen to us. We are not able to place blame on anyone else. We own the mistakes that happened, when they happened, how they happened. We own those mistakes. And then we say, Lord, you have redeemed me. There's grace and forgiveness for those mistakes. Now, Lord, order my steps and help me to walk forward in a way that honors your name, glorifies you, and points others back to you. This is biblical stewardship, and this is the mission. So as you're walking out your health journey, know that every day, however you choose to show up, if you're showing up with intention, you are walking in biblical stewardship. Hope this was helpful. We'll talk more later.